Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch Break with the Rabbi. Today is Wednesday, December 16th. It is the sixth day of Hanukkah, which makes it the first day of the new month of Teves. Today is Rosh Chodesh, which is also the beginning of a new month, a special time as well. And today we're going to be discussing the story of Joseph and its relevance, and the story of Hanukkah and how it all interacts with one another, and what we can learn from all of this today. So as you know, in today's Torah reading, we begin with the story of Joseph, of Pharaoh's two dreams. And Pharaoh has two different dreams, and he doesn't know what to make of them. He calls all those different magicians and interpreters, and he doesn't know how to go about it. They say a story that there was once this rabbi going in a taxi, and the taxi gets into a terrible collision, and both the rabbi and the taxi driver unfortunately pass on. As they come up to heaven, the rabbi is escorted to the chambers, and the taxi driver is also taken up on the heavenly court. And the angels take the taxi driver to heaven, and the rabbi gets judged someplace else. And the rabbi says, "Where's the righteousness? I'm a rabbi, a spiritual guide, my whole life teaching and preaching. What about this taxi guy goes straight to heaven? How does that work out?" The angels on high turned to the rabbi and said, "Listen here, when this guy was driving, everybody was praying. But while you were preaching and teaching, everybody was sleeping." We look at life, and we look at many different occurrences that happen in life. Dreams, situations, and every single part of life has a certain teaching that we must learn from it, and has a facet of our life that we can experience and teach us even more about. And over here, when we learn about the teachings of the stories of Joseph, there's some amazing part of the story which really is striking when you read into the story of Joseph. Joseph is sold by his brothers down to Egypt. And at first, he's being all successful down in Egypt, wherever he is. But then his success meets him with jealousy, and he's thrown into the dungeon. For 10 years, he's sitting in solitary confinement in some prison in Egypt, which is nothing like anything prison today, even in its best shape or form. Sitting down deep in a dungeon, he meets two of his nemesis. The baker and the butler are also in the dungeon. And over there he sees, and he wakes up one morning, and he sees that they're very sad. They're disappointed. And he asks them, "Why are you sad? Why are you upset?" And they tell him because he had a dream. They had a dream. They don't have an interpretation about it. Now take a moment. Think about this. Here you have a kid. He's literally a kid. Now at that age, he was already 25, fine. He was taken away from his parents, already in a strange and foreign land. Anytime he was anything successful, he was beaten to the core. He's thrown into prison in solitary confinement. And what's on his mind? How come his jailmates, his cellmates, aren't doing too good? Why are they frowning? Why are they upset? Why are they upset? They're in jail. Of course they're upset. But why is he mixing in? All of a sudden, he's not wallowing in his own sorrows. He, so to speak, is so anxious to help somebody else, even while he is in probably the most precarious situation where he saw no end in sight. And eventually goes on to help the baker and the butler. He tells them what their dreams were. The baker is not too excited about what his dream is. And the butler, he reminds him that he's going to get back his position to be and there by Pharaoh. And he reminds him and he says, "Listen here, when you get your chance to be up there, don't forget about me down here." 2 years later, the butler still forgets about him. But in this week's Torah reading, where Joseph and Pharaoh has the dreams, Pharaoh over here says the dreams, and the butler reminds himself of when he was in prison and says, "You know what? I know somebody that can interpret the dream for you." And Joseph eventually is the one that's taken out of prison, interprets the dreams, and Pharaoh appoints him the viceroy of Egypt. And then from there, we know in this week's Torah story, Torah reading, that he brings down his brothers to the land of, his brothers come down to the land of Egypt, and he meets them, and where the encounter is of Joseph and his brothers. But the bottom line is that Joseph is now appointed viceroy of Egypt, then Egypt being the superpower of the world. Joseph makes it the superpower of the world, and he is now on top of his game. But if you look into the details of this story, what brought Joseph to his liberation? What brought Joseph the ability to become the viceroy of Egypt and have that chance to interpret the dreams for Pharaoh was the very fact that even during his darkest times, even during the deepest times in his life, while he was in solitary confinement in a jail that who knows where, he recognized that there's another person and that he can say good morning to that individual, see how they're doing, wish them well. And that brought him his realization and his release of his confinement. Thinking about somebody else in the most desperate of times. As it's Hanukkah, I want to share with you a story that happened about 30 years ago in California, in the valley, in Simi Valley. There was a fellow by the name of Chabad rabbi, by the name of Rabbi Moshe Brisky, who often lectures in many different places and has an ongoing lunch and learn in his synagogue and his Chabad house every week, where people from all walks of life come to his class. And one time to his class came a person who was not a regular to his synagogue and came to listen to his class. And after the class, the fellow walks over to the rabbi. He says, I'd like to have a word with you. And he tells him, a few years ago, great tragedy has befallen my family. And my wife and 2 kids were killed in a car accident. And because of that tragedy, I've always been depressed, very upset, to the extent that I wanted to give up my life. But I had this one single daughter left, and I felt it's not right for me to give up my life just like that. And I said, let me go spend some good time and quality time with her before I take my life. And I decided that we're going to go to a movie theater there in Simi Valley, watch a movie, and on my way home, I'll drop her off, say my goodbyes, and then take my life. As I got to the movie theater, I hear from a distance music. Live music. Sounded like Jewish music and resembled and brought back my childhood times in Hebrew school singing those songs. And I walked to see what was going on there, and I saw that there was a menorah. And a few Hasidic rabbis dancing around the menorah, and before I had a chance to really get what was going on, they scooped me up into the dancing, put the hat on my head, and I was dancing around the menorah. After this transient effect, all of a sudden, I thought to myself, 1 second, there's more to life. I can't just give up my life. And I went home with a resolve to go to therapy, fix myself up, and be a good dad for my remaining child. Rabbi Brisky, who's listening to the story, now it's his turn to wipe away the tears. And he says, let me tell you the other part of the story. And he says, that story you said was in the mall in Simi Valley. He says, correct. And what year was that? And he tells them the exact year. He tells you, let me tell you what happened. He says, that year we were looking to expand our Hanukkah activities. And I was looking for a mall in Simi Valley that would allow us the last minute to put up a menorah. And I just opened up any mall that said Simi Valley Mall, found the number to the administration. I said, can we put up a menorah? They said, sure. It sounded like Simi Valley Mall, big, great mall, lots of traffic, a beautiful menorah, got hundreds of donuts, music and everything, and we're going to go there. We come to the mall. All of a sudden, I realized half of the stores are closed. This was a mall that was about to go bankrupt. The only store that was open, the only place that was open in the mall was the movie theater. So we said, you know what? We're going to move the menorah right by the movie theater. Like this, we can attract as many people that are going to the movie. Maybe 4 or 5 people showed up. Few people dancing. We had our music blaring. We were dancing. But I felt failure. I said, what did we do? What did I waste my time, waste my donuts, waste the music? How many people even saw it? Only now do I know. Divine Providence made us go to that mall, made us light that menorah at that time and move it to the movie theater, only to save your life. But what's deeper about the story is the story of Joseph teaches us. Sometimes we think we're helping somebody else, but we're really helping ourselves. There was a great philanthropist by the name of Sir Moses Montefiore, English, well-known philanthropist. Montefiore Cemetery, as you know, is named after him, and many other great settlements in the land of Israel and so on. One of the greatest philanthropists of all times. And he, at one point, was asked, what is your net worth? And for a moment he said, 1 second, and he gave a number. The person that asked him his net worth said, but you're worth so much more money. He said, you didn't ask me how much money I have. You asked me how much I'm worth. I am worth the amount of money that I helped other people. Our net worth, our value, is what we help other people with. The way we go about helping other people, that's truly, in essence, helping ourselves. Just like Joseph, who in the story of Pharaoh and the story of the baker, the butler, he cared about individuals to ask them how their day was. And because of that, his day became enlightened. He became better. So too, every single one of us. When we help somebody else, we become better. We become stronger. The message of the Hanukkah menorah. Every single day we add another candle. Every single day we continue to ignite and create more light. But that light and warmth is not only for the outside, but in fact is even more present within ourselves. The more light we create, the better we become with giving. The more generous we are, the greater we become as people. Judaism teaches us the mitzvah of giving is not about who you helped. It's about that you helped. Because when you help somebody else, you help yourself. You become a better person. You become a stronger person. You may not see it right now, but in God's master plan, when we continue to be the givers of light, when we continue to light the menorah and ignite the world, we are not only making the world a brighter place, we're making ourselves brighter people. So my dear friends, the message of Joseph is clear. The message of Hanukkah is here. Be a giver. That is your net worth. God bless you and have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay warm. Wishing you a happy Hanukkah and only the best of health, the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow at 1 p.m.